Hello everyone, welcome back to the class. So in today's video, I'm going to do a short introduction to the writer Zhang Dai for this week and his work Reminiscence in Dreams of Tao-An. And now we are moving from the contemporary China to the pre-modern China or the early modern China. So the feeling will be different, but I really want you to get a sense of how the Chinese people's love about food and their taste about food is involved historically, and how we can use that historical perspective to enrich our contemporary experience when talking about food or talking about Chinese taste. So this week we are going to read this particular author Zhang Dai and his work Reminiscence in Dreams of Tao-An. And because we are now entering the pre-modern time, I think it will be very interesting to pay attention to the specific time period and how the social class is going through some sort of struggle during that specific time period. So the time period we are talking about now is late Ming and early Qing dynasty, which is mid-16th to mid-17th century, so a little bit far away. But I would say that is the best time of early modern China. That is to say, everything works almost like nowadays, the contemporary society we are experiencing, because the market economy really flourished. That means people are always selling things and buying things, and all shops are open, and the economy really is booming. And because the economy is so good, so people can get all kinds of entertainment from across this empire, this huge empire of China. You can get one commodity from like thousands of miles away because there's now some merchant sell it to you. So I think the rules working just as what we are lived today. But this kind of golden age lead to one of the most traumatic moments in Chinese history, that is the Ming-Qing transition, which happened in 1644. And that is exactly the time our writer, this particular author, Zhang Dai, experienced and had a very traumatic memory about it. Because that is the time when Qing dynasty took over the Ming dynasty. They slaughtered a lot of people and kind of ruled the whole China from a barbarian, if you can say that, a barbarian perspective. So the whole feeling of the Chinese is different. And as a people going through from the Ming dynasty to the Qing dynasty, Zhang Dai, he himself has a lot of thoughts, and we'll get to that later. And at that specific time period, there's a lot of a very important social class struggle happening, which is the rise of the merchant class. Because now you can see the economy really flourished and people are buying things all the time. So the merchant class is able to collecting a lot of fortune, and which made them became more privileged in the whole society. But at the same time, as the rise of the merchant class, you will inevitably have some decline of a certain class. That is literati. So who is literati? Literati refers to the people who study Confucian classics all the time, from the very young age to the very mature time. They always study Confucian classics, and their ultimate goal is to pass the imperial examination and become a government official. And Zhang Dai is one of the social class of literati, even if he didn't actually pass the imperial examination. But if we ever mention the literati in this class, the definition is the people who study Confucian classics and willing to always want to pass the imperial examination. The examination is very important to them, and their ultimate career goal is to become a government official. So now a little bit about this particular author, Zhang Dai. So this is a picture of him. He lived from 1597 to 1648. And His style name is Taoan. That is why this whole book is named Reminiscence of Taoan or In Dream Memory of Taoan. Taoan refers to he himself. And his hometown is from Shaoxing. Shaoxing is one of the most important city in the lower Yangtze region. That is, you can consider it as the most rich and cultured place in the early modern China in the time when Zhang Dai lived. So everybody there should be, in general, lived a pretty wealthy life and enjoyed a lot of cultural activity and have a refined taste. And Zhang Dai, in particular, is born in a very wealthy gentry family. But he never passed the imperial examination. But instead of digging himself into the study of Confucian classics, he instead indulged in various kinds of enjoyments, such as food and drinks, as we are going to read for this week, and also plays, travel, garden, books, handicrafts, all kinds of things, or medicine. So all kinds of things not included in the Confucian classics is Zhang Dai's personal interest. And he actually developed a lot of writing on these kind of side topics. And because, as I said, he went through this traumatic dynastic transition, so we will generally consider him as a yimin, which is can be translated as a remnant subject or people who adherent to the formal dynasty. So basically, what does that mean is that after Ming Dynasty is taken over by the Qing Dynasty, Zhang Dai refused to be a person or a citizen living under the ruler of the Qing Dynasty. He himself still considered himself as a person from the Ming Dynasty. So that kind of nostalgia and adherent to the old days, to the old memory, that thing is very important to understanding Zhang Dai's writing about food. And this book, Taoan Mengyi or Reminiscence in Dreams of Taoan, is one of the most popular books nowadays by Zhang Dai. So first we need to pay attention to the genre. It's in Chinese 小品文 or translated as vignette. So Taoan Mengyi is basically a collection of very short essays. So you can see the the entries I assigned you to read is very short, and compared to the normal essay. So it's in short length, and it's always about insignificant stuff like food or eating crabs or drinking teas or watching plays or building my own garden. All these kind of recreations in life, this kind of insignificant stuff could be included in this genre of 小品文. And one of the most important feature of 小品文 is that it always uses the kind of witty language. So if you pay a close attention to how Zhang Dai actually write about food or drinks or other stuff, you will see he likes to make jokes and use that kind of witty language to twist that whole thing to make it sounds very clever or looks very clever. And that kind of thing defines this kind of writing should be included in the genre of 小品文, not a random normal essay. And also, I would like you to pay attention to the mention of me in the text, because all these 小品文 is written from the perspective of Zhang Dai himself, so we can see a very strong, a very prominent appearance of me in the text. And I would like you to think about how that influences Zhang Dai's writing style and how this me is that constantly one single image of me, or is that always changing with different pieces of writing? And also, please pay attention to the fact that this book, 陶安梦遗 or Reminiscence in Dreams of Taoan, is written after the fall of Ming. So basically, everything is memory. Zhang Dai is now try to remember what he used to have but cannot have anymore. So that idea of dream and that idea of the best thing in memory is very important for us to approach to these writings. So I want to draw your attention to the idea of dream. We may ask the question, what exactly is a dream? So I will say first, dream is sort of fake because if you're thinking about dream, you had maybe every night or maybe some nights. When you woke up, you will realize, oh, that is fake. That is not true. Maybe you will feel relaxed when you had a bad dream. So I think one feature for dream is it is sort of fake. And also, it should be partially vague. If you thinking about your own experience of having dreams, very rarely you can remember every detail from one dream. It is always some sort of vague there. So you will try to remember something in your dream. Maybe that is very horrible. Maybe that is very fantastic. But usually you will get the overall idea or the overall experience of something, but not very clear. So the vagueness is very important when we talking about dream. And also I will say, for dream, one of the most important thing is it should be partially vivid. So if you can still think of a dream that you just keep that in your memory, most of the time the dream should be somehow vivid, especially in the way that you are experiencing things. You have some sensory experience in your own dream, and that feeling can linger outside of the dream. So for example, you feel very cold in your dream or very hungry in your dream, and when you woke up, you still feel the cold and hungry. So I will say one of the most interesting thing is that the sensory experience has a power to penetrate dream to reality. And that is one of the most important perspective we should look at Zhang Dai's writing about food, about taste, about all the experience about eating food. And also, because it is a dream, so you always had the potential to wake up. So you cannot stay in the dream forever, right? Because it is a dream, you always had that promising you will wake up. It depends on, if you have a terrible dream, you will like craving to wake up. But if you had a fantastic dream, you may hate to wake up because the dream is too good. So I think you can decide for yourself what kind of dream Zhang Dai is so obsessed with in all these writings about food. And also, especially to this book, Taoan Mengyi, The Reminiscence in Dream of Taoan, the comparison between past and present is very important. I think there's one way you can understand this book is that the past to Zhang Dai is a dream. Because Ming Dynasty collapsed, it will never return. You can never go back to Ming Dynasty. But that is a golden age for Zhang Dai. So he kind of indulged in that dream and don't want to wake up. So that is the past. But what about present? I think one thing very interesting is that he writing everything in the present and consciously or unconsciously making the comparison between the past and present, just like between a dream and a reality. How that comparison became valid and how we can understand that comparison is one of the biggest issue I would like you to thinking about. That kind of goes back to the definition of good taste or taste, as I mentioned in last lecture. That is the taste with the lowercase t. It refers to the flavor of the food. So literally the taste we get every day by eating. While the taste with a capital T refers to your ability to judge something or to appreciate something. So that is more towards the aesthetic meaning of taste. This kind of differentiation between taste and capital T taste is very prominent in Western philosophy, if you are familiar with that. So how people will use the word taste to refer to both and appreciate the capital T taste more than the lower key taste. But in Zhang Dai's case, I think it's a little bit more complicated because he sort of merged these two together. And maybe when you are reading all these entries, you can keep asking the question which part belongs to the lowercase t taste, while which part belongs to the capital T taste, and how that is important to Zhang Dai or to all those writings. One last thing I want to introduce is the idea of 吃 or 皮 or obsession, just as the title of our article. So this sentence is very, very interesting, and I think it can sort of conclude Zhang Dai's main idea about everything, like especially about food. So Zhang Dai wrote it. So this is like the ones who don't have obsessions are not worth making friends with because they don't have deep qing. The idea of qing is very hard to translate, but maybe you can understand it as emotion, feeling, sentiment, or passion. So if someone don't have a obsession about something, I cannot make friends with them because we don't share the passion about life or about how we going to live. So I think Zhang Dai sort of obeys this kind of principle all along his life. And I think you can try to decipher which part of his writing kind of refers to this obsession, his obsession about food, and how he kind of is proud of his obsession and want to represent it as one of the most organic and important part of he as a person and of he as a literati living in the early modern time. Okay, so that's all for today, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to leave your comments below, and I really want to see how you view this particular author and his writing and his obsession about food. Okay, so thank you for watching and see you on Wednesday. Bye.